Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Rajkumar Academy for Civil Services. Let us discuss today the Hindu newspaper of Delhi edition. The first article that we are going to discuss about the monsoon to set in over Kerala on June 4th. The report said by Indian Meteorological Department. So the usual onset of the monsoon arrival to the state of Kerala in is June 1st within a 7-day window. But as of now, it's going to be delayed. So IMD, in terms of the forecast, in the month of April, a normal monsoon during the June-September season, so at 96 percentage of the LPA, that is long period average. This is the recent report given by the IMD. Here we need to understand about the monsoon. Generally, if you take across the world, the monsoons are experienced in the tropical area, roughly between 20° north and 20° south. So, the climate of India is described as the monsoon type. In Asia, this type of climate is found mainly in the south and southeast. Let us have a look. So, out of total four seasonal division of India, monsoon occupies two divisions. One is southwest monsoon and retreating monsoon section. One is southwest monsoon and another one is retreating monsoon. Out of four seasonal division of India, these two occupy a majority role, right? So El Nino is the effect. El Nino is the effect in India's monsoon. This name given to the periodic development of a warm ocean current along the coast of Peru as a temporary replacement of the cold Peruvian current El Nino. Remember, El Nino means it's a Spanish term known as the child and refers to the baby Christ as the current starts flowing during the Christmas. So the presence of El Nino leads to an increase in sea surface temperature and weakening of the trade winds in the region. That is the exact meaning of the El Nino. Right. So as per the article, you need to understand the impact of monsoons on life in India. About 64 percentage of people in India depending on agriculture for their livelihood. And agriculture life, it is completely based on the monsoon. A tropical country like India is depending on the monsoon for the agriculture activity. That is one of the positive point that we can have. And the prosperity of the agriculture, it is completely depends on adequate distribution of rainfall. If it fails, then automatically it affecting the agriculture activity. The region who is come under the irrigation, it is not getting developed. Right, but thing is, India depends on very much. So, timely, adequate rainfall due to the monsoon. Yes, it is possible for us to do the more irrigation. Then, regional variations in the monsoon climate helping in India growing of variety of crops. So, we can do cultivation of variety of crops in India because of this monsoon. Regional monsoon variation in India reflected in the vast variety of food, clothes, and house types. So monsoon rain really helps in terms of recharge the dams which we constructed here and the reservoirs which further used for the generation of hydroelectric power as well. Hydroelectric power as well. Right, when rainfall temperature cyclone in North India is highly beneficial for the rabi crops. Right, these are all the major negative point that we do have in India because of the monsoon rainfall. What about the these are all the positives and what about the negatives? Negatives, it's a variability of rainfall brings droughts or floods. at least every year in some part of the country. Not all part of the country, some part of the country used to get this particular issue. Sudden monsoon burst creates a problem of soil erosion also. Over large areas in India, the soil erosion is one of the major negative impact because of the monsoon rainfall season. And about brings landslides, damages of natural and physical infrastructure, and it's completely disrupting the human life on regular basis. So monsoon prediction in India, which is given by IMD, Indian Meteorological Department. So you just go through what is the importance of the IMD. Okay, so these are all the add-on information that you need to understand based on this article. Next here, tourists enjoy a water scooter ride on Dal Lake against the setting sun in Srinagar on Tuesday. In this particular article, we need to know about the Dal Lake places in news, particularly in India. Okay, Dal Lake. It is located in Srinagar. It is the integral to tourism recreation in Kashmir. And this particular Dal, it's a name jewel in the crown of Kashmir, or we can call it as Srinagar's jewel. Important source for the commercial operations in terms of fishing and water plant harvesting, and it covers around 18 square kilometers. 18 square kilometers, and is part of a natural wetland, including its floating gardens. That is one of the important in the Dal Lake. And floating gardens known as Rad, R-A-D, Rad in Kashmir. The wetland is divided by causeways into four basins. Okay, Gabribal, Lokuddal, Bodhdal, and Nagi. These are all the four. And houseboats, which is known as shikaras, are closely associated with Dal Lake, which provide accommodation to tourists in Srinagar. Excuse me. So, because of all these features only, it attracts the tourists. It's a small, area only, but it has the information that is places in news. Right. Moving towards the next one is about don't create atmosphere of fear. Supreme Court cautions enforcement directorate. You know about recently there was a lot of repetition of this term in your news. Enforcement directorate arrest, enforcement directorate doing raid like this. So Supreme Court come up with a caution the enforcement directorate against creating an atmosphere of fear after Chhattisgarh government alleged that central agency was running amok in the state of implicate Chief Minister Bhupesh Bagal in a money laundering case linked to 2000 crore liquor scam. So in this article, the Supreme Court is like telling the cautions of enforcement directorate. For us, add-on information that how we can get to know about this particular article in the future also, we mandate to know about what is meant by this enforcement directorate. Right? It's a multidisciplinary organization that mandated with investigation of offences of money laundering. So any offences related to money laundering, enforcement directorate is responsible. And any violations of the foreign exchange laws. It functions under the Ministry of Finance, that is Department of Revenue. Department of Revenue comes under the Ministry of Finance. Right? It functions like financial investigation agency of the government of India, and also with constitution and laws of India. If you take the background story of this, origin of this directorate goes back to 1st May of 1956. which is known as Enforcement Unit, formed in the Department of Economic Affairs. There it got originated, and we got origin there itself, right? So for handling the exchange control laws violation under Foreign Exchange Regulating Act of 1947. And this particular ED got headquartered at New Delhi, headed by legal service officer as the director of enforcement. It had two branches in India at Bombay and Calcutta. In the year 1957, the unit was renamed as the Enforcement Directorate, and another branch also got opened at Chennai. Right, 1960, the Administrative Council of the Directorate was completely transformed from the Department of Economic Affairs to Department of Revenue. Comes under Ministry of Finance. With passage of this FERA 1947 was repealed and replaced FERA 1973. So with onset of this process, the economic liberalization Foreign Exchange Management Act in the year of 1919 with effect from June 1st June of 2000 come up with international anti-money laundering regime. The structure is simple. The hierarchical level headed by this particular directorate headed by the Director of Enforcement and five regional offices as of now: Mumbai, Delhi, Chandigarh, Kolkata. Right, Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Kolkata, Chandigarh. And the directorate has around 10 zonal offices, each of which headed by the deputy directors, and 11 subzonal offices which headed by the assistant directors. So you know about recruitment of the offices done directly and by drawing officers from other investigation agencies as well. You know IRS, IPS, IAS, and as income tax officer, excise officers, customs officers used to be posted under this categories. So this is your add-on information regarding the enforcement directorate. Next here, Kashi Council order on father's surname sets of war of words in matrilineal Meghalaya. Matrilineal means women dominated society because you know about patriarchal, it is male domination, matriarchal means woman domination society. So that a tribal council's order not to issue scheduled tribe certificate to any Kashi person who adopts the surname of her or his father has triggered a war of word in matrilineal Meghalaya. So the numbering about 1.39 lakh or one of three indigenous matrilineal communities in northeastern states. Other two are Garos and Jaintias. So what is the exact problem? The Kashi Hills Autonomous District Council ordered a month ago there should not be issuing a certificate the person who adopts the surname of her or his father. That has triggered a war of words. It is about the lineage, how they adapt the surname of their mom or dad. Okay, so father, whoever adopt the surname, the council ordered to not issue the ST certificate. Here, tribes in the news. We need to know a little bit related to the Kashi tribe. About Kashi. Remember, the Kashi tribes are inhabited in the eastern part of Meghalaya, the state of Meghalaya, particularly in eastern part, in the Kashi and Jaintia hills. Kashi Hills and Jaintia Hills is the inhabitant place. Kashis residing in Jaintia Hills are now better known as Jaintias. They are also called as Nars. Okay, the Kashis occupying the northern lowland and foothills are generally called Bois. Bhois, Bohis. So the Kasi people are the indigenous ethnic group of the state. Okay, so state of Assam and certain parts of Bangladesh, where the more number of people are inhabited. Right. So constitutional status under the Constitution of India, the Khasis have granted status of scheduled tribes, and the male dress jimpong, or longest sleeveless cloth they used to wear. And food and drinks, it's about Kashi rice is popular. They also take fish and meat about their food. And inheritance, it's like about matrilineal society, matrilineal system. The youngest daughter, which is known as Ka Kadhu, who is eligible to inherit the ancestral property. That is the inheritance status given to the women in that particular tribe. So, right, religion, mostly Christians. But before that, they believed in the supreme being. So, created, they used to follow their own god. Okay, the Kashi tribe festival, Nongram dance form, is one of the important dance form of the state. Then about Shah Shad Suk Minziam, one of the most important festival of the Kashis. It's known as dance of the joyful heart. These are all the information that you need to know regarding the Kashi tribes. Moving towards the next article related to endosulfan. Apex Court transfers endosulfan case to Kerala High Court. So Supreme Court says with the compensation paid, the only factor left is provision of medical and palliative care for the victims of contamination. So the Supreme Court transferred Kerala High Court the responsibility of monitoring the measures taken by the state government of Kerala to provide medical and palliative care for victims of endosulf contamination. This is your context in the news. In this area, what exactly we need to understand, the people who, as a victim because of this endosulfan contamination, all rehabilitation and support to given by the state government. That instruction was given by Supreme Court to the High Court of Kerala. Now we need to know the background of this article that is known as endosulfan. Okay, endosulfan. What is endosulfan first? Endosulfan is an organ chloride insecticide. Remember, organ chloride insecticide, right? Which has first introduced in the year of 1950, and it is commonly known by its trade name Theodon. Theodon is the trade name for endosulfan. It is linked to a slew of grave medical conditions such as neurotoxicity, physical deformities, poisoning, and more. Remember, it mostly sprayed on the cotton crops. Okay, cotton crops such as neurotoxicity. Not only for the cotton, even cashew, fruits, tea, paddy, tobacco, many other crops as well, such as white fleas, aphids, beetles, worms, etc. So endosulfan is listed under the both Rotterdam Convention on the prior informed consent and Stockholm Convention on persistent organic pollutants. So now you understood what is this endosulfan. Now what exactly the court says? Kerala High Court supposed to address the victim who got affected because of this endosulfan. Right. So impact means nothing. Environmental impact is there because of this endosulfan, because it gets accumulated in the food chains, leading to higher doses, causing more problems. Then you can take humans and animals. Humans and animals. So the endosulfan ingestion results in disease ranging from physical deformities, cancer, birth disorders, and damage to the brain and nervous system. So all these things are effects because of using this endosulfan, environment as well as human and animals. Clear? So here I told you about the two important area. Endosulfan is listed under both Rotterdam Convention on the prior informed consent and Stockholm Convention. So, what is this Rotterdam and Stockholm Convention? Rotterdam Convention in the year of 1998. The convention, which aims to promote cooperation and responsibility in sharing measures amongst the different countries dealing with the trade hazards, particularly chemicals and pesticides. Chemicals and pesticides. Right. So PIC, prior informed consent, is the main feature of convention. It's legally binding on the party members. So that facilitate information exchange about nature and trade related information among the party members. Next one is about Stockholm Convention 2001. The convention aimed to reduce the concentration of persistent organic pollutants, which are chemical substances that not only remain in the atmosphere for longer period but also possess the ability of bioaccumulate. So the convention listed 12 POPs as dirty dozen. Okay, so these are all the value added information regarding this particular article. Moving towards the next article that is related to the gig workers, comes under your editorial page. Rajasthan's move spells some hope for gig workers. The Chief Minister of Rajasthan announced earlier this year the state would set up India's first welfare fund called Rajasthan Platform Based Gig Workers Social Security and Welfare Fund. This is the real instance of regulatory move to unburden gig and platform workers since the code on social security was passed in the year of 2020. So, the Rajasthan government is about to bring the Rajasthan Platform Gig Workers Registration and Welfare Bill 2023. So, many states are yet to act and tied down with the specifics and what are the challenges ahead in terms of the gig workers. So now we need to understand related to the gig workers. Who are all these gig workers? Non-standard or gig workers consist of income. They are getting income doing some kind of earning activity outside of the standard, which means long-term employer or employee relations. They will come outside of the standard. A gig economy is a labor market that relies heavily on the temporary and part-time positions that filled on the temporary and part-time positions by independent contractors and freelancers. So the term gig, which means single or short-term engagements at various venues. The gig economy uses digital platforms to connect freelancers with customers to provide short-term services or asset sharing. Ride hailing apps, food delivery apps, and holiday rental apps are the best example of the gig. Okay, so the reason behind increase in this gig economy post-pandemic, the trend of accelerating during the COVID-19 because the gig economy experienced a significant increase during the time of lockdown. So homebound consumers, the job had been eliminated, turned a part-time and contract work for income. Next one is about freedom to work from anywhere and wide range of applications available. Rise of technology and internet in the hands of the whole people of India. Convenient for small organizations as well. More income with more work. And it is benefiting the employers as well. So, which provides work for all. So here, these are all the major area that reasons of rise of the gig workers in India. In this article, you got to know about what is gig worker and also what are all the reasons of rise. And even we do have challenges as well because it has a lot of problem in terms of providing the full employment and work-life balance also can replace full-time employees. No job security here, no regular job benefits, right? So these are all the challenges faced in the terms of gig workers. In this article, particularly the state Rajasthan, earlier this year would set up India's first welfare fund called the Rajasthan Platform Based Gig Workers Social Security and Welfare Fund. Just go through this article, then you'll be getting know about what exactly Rajasthan government is taking step in terms of the gig workers. Next article of the day that we are going to discuss about EWS quota. EWS quota. Yes. Supreme Court rejects petitions seeking review of EWS quota. Supreme Court has dismissed all the petitions seeking a review of the November 2020 majority judgment by a constitution bench upholding the validation of 10 percentage quota for the economically weaker section of the society. So remember 103, 103rd amendment, constitutional amendment, which provides 10 percentage reservation. Very important for you. Remember, Supreme Court has upheld the validity of one-third Constitutional Amendment Act, which provides 10 percentage of reservation to the economically weaker section among forward castes in the government jobs and colleges across India. This is the verdict. So now many petitions filed in the Supreme Court to review the 10 percentage of EWS quota, but it was dismissed by the Supreme Court. That is the context. Right. So majority view is one not third Constitutional Amendment Act cannot be said to breach the basic structure of the Constitution. Okay, so the EWS quota does not violate equality and the basic structure of the Constitution. So remember this quota you need to understand 10 percentage was given under the 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 2019 by amending Articles 15 and 16. It is for economic reservation. Remember, it is for economic reservation in jobs and also educational institutes for the economically weaker section. It was enacted to promote the welfare of the poor not covered by the 50 percentage of reservation policy for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, socially educated backward classes. It enables both center as well as state to provide reservation for the EWS society. So this is your background information regarding the economically weaker section 10 percentage of quota. Yes, moving towards the next article. See this, you read it. It's a leading firms enthusiastic about investing in India. Meet all CEOs in next week by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to meet all the CEOs from the leading companies in the world next week, and all them, like all about them were enthusiastic about investing in India. So it is about the investment in the different business. So next article it is about DNA, that is DNA vaccine for dengue. India moves closer to getting its first indigenous vaccine against dengue. Okay, dengue vaccine, CYD-TDV or Dengvaxia was approved by the US Food and Drug Administration in 2019, the first dengue vaccine to get regulatory nod in the US. This is the background, which means already we do have, but India is moving towards to provide indigenous vaccine against the dengue. Okay, so just go through this article and what exactly the progress about the indigenous dengue. Then last article of the day, Manoj Soni takes charge as chairman of UPSC. Chairman of UPSC. Okay. Former Vice Chancellor of two universities in Gujarat was Tuesday sworn in as the UPSC chairman. Here we are going to discuss about Union Public Service Commission. So, Public Service Commission in India. As per Article 312 of the Indian Constitution, the Parliament is entitled to create one or more All India services, including All India judicial services. So that can be common to the union and states. The recruitment of all these kind of services were made by the UPSC. The recruitment of all this made by the UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, for administrative Services at the state level, the recruitment made by State Public Service Commission. So the Union Public Service Commission is a central recruiting agency in India. Okay, it is an independent constitutional body. Independent constitutional body. The provision regarding the composition of UPSC, appointment, removal, okay, powers and functions, all are provided in the part 14 of the Indian Constitution. And also the Constitution provides the Article 315 to Article 323. So parallel to the UPSC, there is a State Public Service Commission also. Appointment and removal and all its members comes under the part 14 of the Indian Constitution and Article 315 to 323 as well. Right. So just go through all these articles and about the composition of the Union Public Service Commission. So you get to know about the complete in detail related to the same. Right. So that's all for the day. Stay tuned. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Good day.